new study out of Fresno State takes a look at the impact industrial companies have on the environment and our community. But there are some questions to the accuracy of the conclusions. On this Wired Wednesday, GVWire.com reporter Edward Smith is joining us now to talk about this new data and some of the potential issues that are still unanswered. Edward, hi.
Morning, Kim.
All right, so let's talk about first this Fresno State study about employment and jobs. We're specifically looking, or they were specifically looking at Ulta and Amazon, right?
Ulta and Amazon, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so they looked at 2 years, 2015 and 2020, and they pulled employment data for how many people live in the area and how many people also work in that same area.
Okay.
And they used the data, because there aren't too many near Ulta, now there are a few more near Amazon, but they used that data to conclude that we don't need more industrial because they're not employing that many people from the area.
Where are they coming from then, the employees?
So Amazon
Or is it robotics?
Amazon and an Ulta employ thousands of people. Amazon employs over 3,000, Ulta nearly 1,000. But they're coming from all over the city. But the study uses 2 points of data from 2 years, which also includes 2020, a COVID year, to justify, to say that because people from that area aren't working at those spots, that therefore we don't need more industrial. Because the city of Fresno is also coming up with a decision for the South Central plan, which is going to decide a lot of industrial in that intensive area.
Are we only looking, though, at the employment? I mean, aren't there a lot of other factors to this?
There are some factors. So they also looked at environment, but they also picked a point in time where they only looked at this compared to one other census tract in Woodward Park, saying that, well, air is worse in South Fresno than in Woodward Park. They failed to mention that over the past 20 years, if you talk to the EPA, you talk to San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District, air over the past 20 years has gotten significantly better.
Better, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh, okay. So then what are the study's recommendations?
The study wants to one of the recommendations was to outright end all new industrial development.
Okay.
They had some other reasonable things, let's confer with community members before making decisions about land, which the city already does, and it also includes, truck studies. Where should trucks go in the neighborhood? And the city is also doing that as well. But the biggest one and the top one was they don't want any new industrial in South Fresno.
Okay. Are there any other flaws that were brought up beside maybe the discrepancy when it comes to air pollution, or maybe even including that COVID year in terms of employment numbers?
Yeah, I mean, the idea that, the 300 people that live near Ulta doesn't justify them not working there. They never asked, did anybody apply to work at those jobs?
Oh.
Did anybody try to work at those jobs? They basically threw together, it seems like, a 3-page study and then calling for these very, very weighty conclusions.
So what does this say then about the organization that did the study?
There are so they partnered with environmental justice group Leadership Council for Justice and Accountability, which has historically been opposed to industrial development. And they also got funding from the Kresge Foundation, which has also been opposed to industrial foundation. And so they picked this data, which came out, and they published it right as Fresno is making its decision about land use in South Fresno.
That's interesting. Thank you for that information, too. That's helpful. All right, we'll keep reading.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.